You pay for insurance. Month after month, year after year. You pay when nothing happens. You pay when life is normal. You pay when you are healthy. You pay when your car is fine. You pay when your house is safe. You pay because you believe one thing. If something bad happens, the insurance company will be there. That is the promise. That is the idea. That is what makes you feel safe. But here is the part most people do not think about. An insurance company is not your family. It is not your best friend. It is not a charity. It is a business. And every business has one thing it must protect: money. Now, this does not mean insurance is bad. Insurance can be useful. Insurance can protect people. Insurance can help families survive difficult moments. But you must understand the game you are playing. Because if you do not understand the rules, you can lose even when you thought you were protected. And this is what insurance companies do not want you to understand too late. They do not fear a person who buys insurance. They like that person. They do not fear a person who pays every month and never asks questions. They love that person. They do not fear a person who signs a document without reading it. That person is easy. What they fear is a person who understands the policy, a person who reads the exclusions, a person who keeps records, a person who asks clear questions, a person who knows the difference between what was promised and what is actually written. That person is dangerous, not because they are angry, not because they are rude, not because they want to cheat anyone. No, they are dangerous because they are informed, and an informed customer is much harder to confuse. That is what this episode is about. Why insurance companies become nervous when you know how the system really works. Let's start with the first truth. Insurance is not only about what is covered. It is also about what is not covered. Most people focus on the beautiful words: protection, security, peace of mind, full coverage, premium plan, family protection, accident protection, health protection, life protection. These words sound strong. They sound comforting. They sound like a warm blanket on a cold night. But the real power is not always in the beautiful words at the top of the page. The real power is often in the small words at the bottom. The conditions, the limits, the exclusions, the waiting periods, the deductibles, the definitions, the fine print. That is where many people get surprised. They think, I have insurance. But after something happens, they hear a different sentence. This is not covered. Or, you did not meet the condition. Or, this falls under an exclusion. Or, your claim is still under review. And suddenly, the person who thought they were protected feels confused, stressed, and alone. That is why the first rule is simple. Do not only ask, what does this policy cover? Ask this, what does this policy not cover? That question changes everything. Because when you ask what is not covered, you force the conversation into the part most people ignore. And that is where the truth often lives. Now, let's talk about a word many people hear but do not fully understand. Exclusion. An exclusion is something the insurance company will not pay for. It may be written clearly. It may be written in technical language. It may be hidden inside long paragraphs. But it matters. A policy can look strong at first. But if the exclusions are wide, the protection may be much weaker than you think. For example, a person may believe they have health coverage, but certain treatments may not be covered. Certain pre-existing conditions may not be covered. Certain hospitals may not be included. Certain medicines may require approval. Certain situations may be excluded. A person may believe they have car insurance, but certain drivers may not be covered. Certain uses of the car may not be covered. Certain damages may not be covered. Certain repairs may only be paid up to a limit. A person may believe they have home insurance, but certain kinds of water damage may not be covered. Certain natural events may not be covered. Certain valuables may have low limits. Certain repairs may require special proof. This is why the word covered is not enough. You need details. A weak person hears the word covered and relaxes. A smart person asks, covered how? Covered when? Covered up to how much? Covered under what conditions? That is the difference. Now, let's talk about another word, deductible. A deductible is the amount you must pay before the insurance company pays. Many people choose a policy because the monthly payment looks cheaper. They say, "Good, I am saving money," but they do not look carefully at the deductible. Then something happens. They file a claim, and they realize they must pay a large amount first. Now they are angry. But the deductible was there all along. It was written in the policy. The company did not need to shout it. It only needed to write it. And because the customer did not read carefully, the customer is shocked later. This is why a cheaper monthly payment is not always cheaper. Sometimes you pay less now but carry more risk later. Sometimes a low premium hides a high deductible. Sometimes a plan looks affordable only because the real cost appears when trouble comes. So when you compare insurance, do not only compare monthly payments, compare the real cost. The premium, the deductible, the limits, the exclusions, the waiting period, the claim process, the proof required, the time it may take. That is how smart people look at insurance. They do not look at one number. They look at the whole picture. Now, let's talk about limits. A limit is the maximum amount the insurance company will pay. This is very important because some people hear, "You are covered," and they think that means everything will be paid. No. Covered does not always mean fully paid. Covered may mean paid up to a limit. After that limit, the rest may be your problem. Imagine you have protection for something that costs a lot of money. You feel safe. But later you learn the policy only pays a small amount. Technically, you were covered. But practically, you were still exposed. This is how many people get trapped. They hear the big promise, but they miss the small limit. And the small limit can change the whole story. So ask this question: how much will this policy actually pay? Not in theory, not in a perfect situation, but in a real claim. Ask for examples. Ask for numbers. Ask what happens if the bill is higher. Ask what happens if the repair costs more. Ask what happens if the treatment continues. Ask what happens if the damage is bigger than expected. Because the number that matters is not the number in the advertisement. The number that matters is the number you receive when life becomes difficult. Now, let's talk about waiting periods. A waiting period means you must wait before certain benefits begin. You may buy the policy today. You may start paying today. But some protections may not start today. This surprises many people. They think, "I paid, so I am protected now." Maybe, but maybe not for everything. Some policies have waiting periods for certain conditions. Some have waiting periods for certain benefits. Some have waiting periods for major claims. And if something happens during that waiting period, the company may deny the claim. Again, they may not be breaking the rules. They may simply be following the policy. That is why you must know the timeline. When does coverage start? What begins immediately? What begins later? What is not covered in the first months? What requires proof before approval? These questions sound boring, but boring questions can save you from painful surprises. Now, let's talk about claims. This is where the truth becomes real. Buying insurance is easy. Filing a claim is different. Buying insurance is full of friendly words. Filing a claim is full of documents. Buying insurance may take minutes. Filing a claim may take weeks or months. Buying insurance feels emotional. Filing a claim becomes technical. And this is where many people become weak. They panic. They get tired. They feel confused. They submit incomplete documents. They do not keep copies. They do not write down dates. They do not follow up. They accept the first answer without asking questions. And then they lose money they may have had a right to fight for. Do not be that person. When something happens, you need to become organized. Not emotional. Not messy. Not careless. Organized. Keep every document. Keep every receipt. Keep every email. Keep every medical record. Keep every repair estimate. Take photos. Write dates. Write names. Write what was said. Ask for everything in writing, because memories fade, but records remain. This is one of the biggest things insurance companies do not want you to be good at. Documentation. A person with no documents is easy to dismiss. A person with clear documents is harder to ignore. If you call the company, write down the date. Write down the time. Write down the name of the person you spoke with. Write down what they told you. After the call, send a short email if possible. Say, "Thank you. I want to confirm what we discussed." This creates a paper trail. A paper trail is your memory on paper, and in a claim, that matters. Now, here is one of the most important parts of this entire message. Please listen carefully. The insurance company may have more experience than you. They know the policy language. They know the claim process. They know the forms. They know the rules. They know what words matter. But that does not mean you are powerless. You become powerless when you stay confused. You become stronger when you ask questions. You become stronger when you read. You become stronger when you document. You become stronger when you slow down and refuse to be rushed. And this is the part that changes everything. Insurance companies do not fear anger. They deal with angry people every day. They do not fear shouting. They have heard shouting before. They do not fear complaints without proof. Those are easy to handle. What they fear is calm knowledge. A calm person who knows the policy. A calm person who has records. A calm person who asks for written answers. A calm person who knows when something does not make sense. A calm person who does not disappear after the first denial. That person is not easy. That person cannot be pushed around so quickly. If this kind of information helps you, subscribe to the channel now. Do it now, not later. Subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. Stay with us, because the more you understand money, insurance, contracts, and real-life protection, the harder it is for any company to confuse you. Do not be the person who only learns after losing money. Learn before the problem comes. Now, let's continue, because there is another important truth. A denied claim is not always the end. Many people receive a denial and stop. They feel embarrassed. They feel angry. They feel tired. They say, the company said no, so it must be over. No, not always. Sometimes a denial is final, but sometimes a denial can be reviewed. Sometimes documents are missing. Sometimes the company made a mistake. Sometimes the reason is unclear. Sometimes the policy was misunderstood. Sometimes the claim needs more proof. Sometimes the customer needs to appeal. The problem is that many people do not ask why. They only hear no, and then they surrender. That is weak. Do not surrender before you understand. Ask for the denial in writing. Ask for the exact reason. Ask which policy section applies. Ask what document is missing. Ask if there is an appeal process. Ask the deadline. Ask what evidence can support the claim. Ask who reviewed the claim. Ask what step comes next. You do not need to be rude. You need to be clear. There is a difference. Rude people make noise. Clear people make progress. Now, let's talk about language. Insurance policies use words that sound normal, but may have special meanings. Words like accident, damage, disability, medical necessity, reasonable cost, pre-existing condition, covered loss, actual cash value, replacement cost, excess, exclusion. These words may not mean what you think they mean. In daily life, a word can feel simple, but in a policy, that word may have a specific definition, and the definition controls the claim, not your feelings, not your assumption, not what you thought the word meant. The definition. That is why you must look for the definitions section. Yes, it may be boring. Yes, it may be long. Yes, it may feel like reading dry bread. Read it anyway, because one definition can decide whether money comes to you or stays with the company. Now, let's talk about agents and salespeople. Many insurance agents are helpful. Some are honest. Some explain clearly. Some care about the customer, but you must remember this. A verbal explanation is not the same as the written policy. What matters most is what is written. Someone may say, yes, you should be covered. Someone may say, do not worry. Someone may say, this is a great plan. But later, if the policy says something else, the written policy usually controls the result. That is why you should not rely only on friendly conversations. Ask for written confirmation. Ask where it appears in the policy. Ask them to show you the exact section. If someone says, this is covered, ask, can you show me where? If someone says, this is not a problem, ask, can you put that in writing? This is not being difficult. This is being responsible. Weak people feel shy asking questions. They think asking questions makes them look annoying. No, asking questions protects your money. If you are paying for protection, you have the right to understand what you are buying. Now, let's talk about the renewal. Many people buy insurance once and never review it again. Years pass. Life changes. Income changes. Health changes. Family changes. Property changes. Risks change. But the policy stays the same. That can be dangerous. A policy that made sense 5 years ago may not make sense today. Maybe your home value changed. Maybe your medical needs changed. Maybe your family depends on you more now. Maybe your business changed. Maybe your car usage changed. Maybe new exclusions or conditions were added at renewal. Maybe the premium increased, but the protection did not improve. Do not renew blindly. Read the renewal notice. Check the changes. Compare the limits. Review the deductible. Ask if anything changed. Ask if there are better options. Insurance is not something you buy once and forget forever. It needs review. Like health, like money, like your house, like your life. Now, let's talk about fear. Insurance is often sold through fear. Fear of sickness, fear of accidents, fear of death, fear of losing the house, fear of leaving family behind. Fear is powerful, and sometimes fear is useful. It reminds us to prepare. But fear can also make people sign too quickly. When you are scared, you may not read carefully. When you are worried, you may buy more than you need. When you feel pressure, you may accept terms you do not understand. So, do not buy insurance only with fear. Buy it with clarity. Ask yourself, what risk am I trying to protect against? How much protection do I truly need? What can I afford? What is not covered? What happens if I cannot pay later? What is the worst-case scenario? What is the claim process? Do I understand this policy well enough to explain it to someone else? That last question is powerful. If you cannot explain your policy in simple words, you may not understand it yet. And if you do not understand it, you may be trusting something you cannot control. Now, let's talk about overinsurance. Some people have too little insurance. That can be risky. But some people have too much. That can also be a problem. They pay for protection they do not need. They buy overlapping policies. They pay high premiums for benefits they may never use. They sign up for extras without understanding them. They think more insurance always means more safety. Not always. Good protection is not about buying everything. It is about buying the right thing. A person with the right coverage is stronger than a person with 5 confusing policies they do not understand. Do not collect policies like decoration. Understand them. Review them. Organize them. Know what each one does. Know why you have it. Know when it pays. Know when it does not pay. That is financial maturity. Now, let's talk about underinsurance. This is the opposite problem. Some people buy the cheapest policy just to feel safe. They say, at least I have something. But when the real problem comes, something may not be enough. A cheap policy with weak protection can create false confidence. And false confidence is dangerous because you think you are protected, so you do not prepare in other ways. Then the claim comes. The payout is small, the bill is large, and now you face the truth too late. So again, the goal is not cheap. The goal is appropriate. The goal is protection that matches your real risk. Now, let's talk about medical insurance. This is one of the most emotional areas, because when health is involved, people are scared. They are tired. They are in pain. Their family is worried. And at that moment, paperwork feels cruel. But paperwork still matters. You may need pre-approval. You may need referrals. You may need medical records. You may need proof that treatment is necessary. You may need to use certain doctors or hospitals. You may need to follow specific steps. If you skip a step, the claim may become harder. This is not fair emotionally, but it is real. So, if you or your family has health insurance, learn the process before an emergency. Know the network. Know the emergency rules. Know the approval process. Know what number to call. Know what documents to keep. Know how to request records. Do not wait until someone is sick to learn the system. That is like learning how to swim after falling into deep water. Learn before. Prepare before. Now, let's talk about car insurance. Many people think car insurance is simple. You crash. They pay. No. It can be more complicated. Who was driving? Was the driver listed? Was the car used for personal or business purposes? Was there alcohol involved? Was the license valid? Was the policy active? What kind of damage occurred? Was there a police report? Were photos taken? Were there witnesses? Was the claim reported on time? All of this can matter. So, after an accident, do not rely only on memory. Take photos. Get names. Get contact information. Get the other party's insurance details. Write down what happened while it is fresh. Report the claim according to the policy. Keep repair estimates. Keep medical records if there are injuries. Again, documentation is power. Now, let's talk about home insurance. A home is not just a building. It is where people sleep, where children grow, where families cook, where memories live. So when something damages a home, it hurts. But home claims can be full of details. What caused the damage? Was it sudden? Was it gradual? Was maintenance involved? Was the damage excluded? Was the item covered? What is the limit? Do you need photos? Do you need receipts? Do you need proof of ownership? Do you need a contractor estimate? Many people do not keep records of their belongings. Then after a fire, theft, or disaster, they struggle to prove what they had. So make an inventory. Take photos of important items. Record serial numbers. Keep receipts when possible. Save digital copies. This sounds boring today, but after a loss, it can become extremely valuable. Now, let's talk about life insurance. This is emotional. Nobody wants to think about death. But life insurance is not really about the person who dies. It is about the people who remain. The spouse, the children, the parents, the family, the people who depend on the income. But even life insurance needs understanding. What type is it? How long does it last? What are the premiums? Can they increase? What are the exclusions? Is there a waiting period? What happens if payments stop? Who is the beneficiary? Is the beneficiary updated? Many people forget to update beneficiaries after marriage, divorce, birth, death, or family changes. That can create serious problems later. So, review it. Do not just buy it and forget it. Life changes. Your policy should reflect your life now, not your life 10 years ago. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes people make. They do not keep their policies organized. They have documents everywhere. One email here, one paper there, a policy in a drawer, a renewal notice in a box, a card in a wallet, a password nobody knows. Then something happens, and the family cannot find anything. This is not smart. Create an insurance folder, physical or digital. Put everything in one place. Policy documents, contact numbers, claim instructions, payment records, aged information, beneficiary information, important receipts, photos, medical documents if needed. Make sure someone trusted knows where to find it. Not everyone. Someone trusted, because protection that cannot be found is weak protection. Now, let's talk about honesty. This is important. Do not lie on insurance applications. Do not hide important information. Do not exaggerate claims. Do not create false documents. Do not try to cheat the system. That is stupid, and it can destroy your claim. Insurance companies investigate. They compare records. They check timelines. They look for inconsistencies. If you lie, you give them a powerful reason to deny you. Be honest. Be accurate. Be complete. Your strength should come from truth and documentation, not tricks. Now, let's talk about the real reason companies may be afraid when you know these things. They are not afraid because you are doing something wrong. They are afraid because you stop being easy. You stop being the person who signs without reading. You stop being the person who accepts vague answers. You stop being the person who loses documents. You stop being the person who gives up after the first denial. You stop being the person who hears "not covered" and walks away without asking why. You become the person who says, "Show me the policy section. Put that in writing. What is the appeal process? What document is missing? What is the deadline? What definition are you using? What limit applies? Please explain the exclusion. Please confirm this by email." That is a different customer. That is a customer who understands the game. Now, let's talk about emotion, because insurance is not just paperwork. It is deeply emotional. People file claims when life is hard, after accidents, after sickness, after damage, after death, after fear, after stress. Nobody files a claim on their happiest day. A claim usually begins with a problem, and when people are hurting, they are easier to overwhelm. They may not have energy to argue. They may not understand the language. They may just want the pain to end. This is why preparation matters. You prepare when life is calm. So, you are not helpless when life becomes stormy. You read the policy before the accident. You organize documents before the claim. You ask questions before the emergency. You understand limits before the bill arrives. You review beneficiaries before the funeral. That may sound uncomfortable, but it is love. It is love for your family. It is love for your future self. It is love for the people who may have to handle things when you cannot. Now, I want you to remember one sentence. Insurance does not protect you just because you bought it. Insurance protects you when you understand it, maintain it, and use it correctly. Say it again. Insurance does not protect you just because you bought it. It protects you when you understand it, maintain it, and use it correctly. That is the truth. A policy you do not understand is not full protection. It is a hope, and hope is not a strategy. Now, let's create a simple checklist, not a complicated checklist. A simple one. Number 1, find your policy. Do not guess where it is. Find it. Number 2, read the coverage. What is included? Number 3, read the exclusions. What is not included? Number 4, check the limits. How much will they pay? Number 5, check the deductible. How much must you pay first? Number 6, check the waiting period. When does coverage really begin? Number 7, check the claim process. What must you do if something happens? Number 8, save important documents. Receipts, photos, emails, records. Number 9, ask questions in writing. Do not rely only on phone calls. Number 10, review your policy every year, because life changes. This checklist is simple, but most people do not do it. And that is why they get hurt. Not because they are bad people, because they are careless. And let me say this clearly. Carelessness with insurance is expensive. It can cost you money. It can cost your family peace. It can cost you months of stress. It can cost you protection you thought you had. Do not be lazy with documents. Do not be weak with questions. Do not be shy when your money and your family are involved. Read. Ask. Organize. Confirm. Review. That is not paranoia. That is adulthood. Now, let's talk about what to do before buying a policy. Before you sign, slow down. Do not let anyone rush you. A rushed customer is an easy customer. Take the document, read it. Ask for a summary. Ask for examples. Ask what is not covered. Ask what happens in common situations. Ask about price changes. Ask about cancellation. Ask about renewal. Ask about claim timelines. Ask what proof is needed. Then compare. Do not buy only because someone sounded friendly. Friendliness is nice, but clarity is better. A smile does not pay your claim. A written policy does. Now, let's talk about what to do after buying. Do not throw the document into a drawer and forget it. Create your folder. Save the policy. Save the payment schedule. Save contact details. Mark renewal dates. Set reminders. Tell a trusted family member where the documents are. Review the policy once a year. If your life changes, update it. Marriage, divorce, new child, new house, new car, new business, health change, income change, debt change. Any major life change can affect insurance needs. Do not wait until a claim to discover your policy no longer fits your life. Now, let's talk about what to do when filing a claim. First, stay calm. Second, read the claim instructions. Third, report on time. Fourth, collect documents. Fifth, take photos if relevant. Sixth, keep copies of everything. Seventh, ask for written updates. Eighth, track dates. Ninth, respond quickly. 10th, do not accept vague answers. If they need more documents, ask exactly which documents. If they deny the claim, ask for the exact reason in writing. If there is an appeal process, ask how it works. If there is a deadline, write it down. A claim is not just a request. It is a process. And processes reward organized people. Now, let's talk about one small habit that can help a lot. After every important insurance call, write a note. Just 5 lines. Date. Time. Person's name. What was discussed. Next step. That is it. This small note can save you later. Because 2 months from now, you may not remember who said what, but your note will remember. Your note does not get tired. Your note does not panic. Your note does not forget. This is why records matter. Now, let's talk about another powerful habit. Ask for examples. When someone explains coverage, say, "Can you give me an example? If this happens, what would the policy pay? If the bill is this much, how much would I pay? If the damage happens this way, is it covered? If I go to this hospital, is it included? If someone else drives my car, what happens?" Examples make vague words clear. And companies that hide behind vague words do not like clear examples. Clear examples reveal the real policy. Now, let's talk about emotions again. Many people feel embarrassed because they do not understand insurance. Do not be embarrassed. Insurance language is often difficult. It is not written like normal conversation. It can be long. It can be boring. It can be full of legal and technical words. So, ask for simple explanations. Ask again if needed. Ask until you understand. A smart person is not the person who pretends to understand. A smart person is the person who refuses to stay confused. Now, let's talk about family. If you are the only person who understands the insurance, your family may suffer if something happens to you. So, share basic information with someone trusted. Not every detail with everyone, but enough. Where are the documents? Who is the agent? What policies exist? What are the contact numbers? What should they do in an emergency? Who are the beneficiaries? How are premiums paid? This is not negative thinking. This is responsible thinking. It is not fear. It is preparation. Now, let's talk about the final mindset. Insurance is not magic. It is a contract. A contract has rules. A contract has words. A contract has conditions. A contract has limits. If you treat insurance like magic, you will be disappointed. If you treat it like a contract, you will be stronger. Read the contract. Understand the contract. Keep the contract. Use the contract correctly. That is how you protect yourself. Now, let's bring this back to the title. Why are insurance companies afraid when you know this? Because you stop being passive. You stop being confused. You stop being rushed. You stop being silent. You stop being easy to deny without questions. You become the customer who understands that every word matters. You become the customer who knows that a claim needs proof. You become the customer who knows that a denial deserves explanation. You become the customer who knows that covered is not enough. You become the customer who asks, how much? When? Under what condition? Where is it written? What is excluded? What is the deadline? What is the appeal process? That is power. Quiet power. Not shouting, not fighting, not begging. Power through knowledge. Power through preparation. Power through records. Power through calm questions. And let me tell you something. This kind of power is not only for rich people. It is not only for lawyers. It is not only for experts. It is for anyone willing to stop being lazy and read what they are paying for. Yes, insurance is boring. Read it anyway. Yes, policy documents are long. Read them anyway. Yes, the words are difficult. Ask anyway. Because when life hits, you will wish you had done the boring work earlier. The boring work today can save you from the painful surprise tomorrow. Now, before we finish, I want you to imagine something. Imagine a person who pays insurance for 10 years. 10 years! Every month, money leaves their account. They never miss a payment. They feel safe. Then one day, something happens. Accident. A health problem. A damaged home. A family emergency. They file a claim. And then they hear the words they never expected. This is not covered. Or, we need more proof. Or, your policy limit is lower than the cost. Or, the deadline has passed. Or, this falls under an exclusion. Now the person is shocked. They feel betrayed. They feel angry. They say, but I paid for years. And that may be true. But paying is not the same as understanding. This is the painful lesson. Do not wait until claim day to learn what you bought. Claim day is too late. Learn now. While life is calm, while the papers are still clean, while no one is in the hospital, while the house is still standing, while the car is still fine, while your mind can think clearly, preparation is quiet, but it is powerful. And one day, it may protect you more than emotion ever could. So today, do one thing. Not 10 things. One thing. Find one insurance policy. Open it. Read the first page. Look for the deductible. Look for the limit. Look for the exclusions. Look for the claim phone number. That is your first step. Do not say, "I will do it later." Later is dangerous. Later becomes forgotten. Forgotten becomes expensive. Start today. Start small. Start with one page, one question, one folder, one phone call, one note, one moment of responsibility. That is how you become harder to confuse. That is how you protect your money. That is how you protect your family. That is how you stop being the easy customer. Now, if this message helped you, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe now. Turn on the notification bell. Share this with someone who pays for insurance but has never read their policy. Do not let them learn too late. Do not let them wait until a claim is denied. Do not let them keep paying without understanding. Knowledge protects. Preparation protects. Question protect. Records protect. And the person who understands the policy is always stronger than the person who only trusts the promise. Thank you for listening. Take care of your money. Take care of your family. Take care of your future. And remember this: insurance is not just something you buy. It is something you must understand.